Okay, very warm welcome to our second session on soft skill on Zoom. And what we are going to talk about today is, I think, one of the most valuable, most important, most powerful technique for success. Success in business, success in personal relationship, success in social norms, and success in going up in positions, success to influence people, and so on, called as charm. But before I start, let me ask you, what is the most important decision in our life which impacts or influences our life the most, which once taken, very difficult to change that decision? Yeah, what is that decision? Can anybody unmute and tell me? What is that decision which impacts our life the most? Yeah, anybody?
Discipline, sir.
Discipline. No. Discipline is a way of life. It's not a decision. I'm talking
Sir,
about,
maybe deciding our friends.
you can change your friends if you don't like them. What is the most important decision? Deciding my friends is important, but not the most important.
Future way we wanna go in future, the future way of our life.
No. What is the decision you take which impacts your life the most? Is it not choosing your life partner? It impacts your life the most.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is not. We can change jobs, we can change friends, we can change the house where we are staying, or you can change career. It's very difficult to, once you have children, it's very difficult, although people do that, change their life partners, but it's not easy. It's very, very difficult task. And funnily, this decision is not based most of the time on logic, on SWOT analysis, on checking the strength and weakness of each other, like a balance sheet. It is actually taken on a very emotional level, and sometimes at the spur of the moment. And the reason we choose somebody as our life partner is that I like that girl or I like that boy. Yeah, there's no reason. Just liking somebody is the reason. And sometimes we find very weird kind of marriages happening. Most weird was when a person who could become the emperor of the biggest empire mankind has ever seen, stretching from United States to Australia and all the countries in between, he disowned that throne just to get married to a common divorcee, a very ordinarily looking girl, and went through such a hardship being a heir apparent to become the king. He had to spend all his life in arch poverty because he was denied any money from the royal family, because he decided to marry this common girl from common stock. He spent all his life in almost poverty in Paris, and even after going through such a hardship, at the end of his life, when somebody asked him, do you regret the decision of having chosen to marry this girl, then becoming the emperor? He said, given a chance, I'll marry her again. We may find it weird, but I mean, he had his reasons to get married to that girl. Maybe she was more important. So now most of the decision, if this such an important decision is based on an emotional liking or dislike, do you think most of the other decision, which are not as important as this decision, is based on logic? It is not. We'll find that in most of the cases in business, in choosing our personal friends, in choosing somebody with whom we would like to do business or whom we would like to hire, or you know is also based on something called liking. We would always like to do business with people we like. We will not do business with people who we don't like but are more competent. It doesn't happen. So therefore, the ability to make yourself liked by many people or as many people as possible is the most important skill, because that will bring us all kinds of opportunities to get hired, to get business, to get relationship, to get friendship. All these things are possible only when you have a quality of making people like you. And this is only possible through charm. And this is not something which people are born with. There are some people are, you can say, have natural way of doing it, but all of us can learn this technique. And this technique is very, very powerful. It will open many doors for us, and it will really lead us to a very successful, very intense, very meaningful, very happy life. So let's learn how to become a great charmer. Charm is that irresistible power to which we react instinctively, emotionally, and most powerfully. More doors would open for us by our charm than any other quality, and it can be learned. It is not something which some people have and some people don't have. It is something we all can learn. The one who charms derives great pleasure in pleasing others. Now, how can I be a great charmer? The same way I can be a great painter or dancer or scientist or mathematician or actor or anything else. People who enjoy painting, who gets immense pleasure in painting, immense pleasure in singing, immense pleasure in dancing, immense pleasure in doing mathematics, are the greatest mathematician or singer or dancer and so on. So therefore, to become a great charmer, you must start enjoying the process of charming others. And what is the process of charming others requires? Making other people feel nice about themselves, pleasing them, making them feel important, making them feel that they are great. Yeah, if you enjoy the process, some people have this sadistic trait of enjoying by making people feel small. They have habit of pulling down people. So if and see we if we have a habit of pulling down people, we are damaging our own reputation more than anybody else's. We are actually shutting all the doors of opportunity for us. We are doing the greatest harm to us. We are not harming the others. Of course, temporarily we are making them sad or feel angry or feel negative or feel all that. But then on a longer run, it is going to damage us. It is going to harm us more than anybody else. So therefore, we must change. We must, if so far we are not enjoying the process of pleasing others, or the process of making other people feel important or feel happy, we should now change and start enjoying the process of making other people feel important, feel nice, feel great about themselves. That is the first thing we should do. Change our own mindset, change our own way of looking at things, change our own habit. They make us feel as though we are the most important and fascinating people they've ever met, which make us feel exceptional. Everyone on this planet has good qualities and bad qualities. अगर हम लोगों में कमियां देखने छोड़ के खूबियां देखना शुरू करेंगे, if we start seeing good things in people, if we condition our mindset to see nice things instead of bad things, you see, already our mind is conditioned to see things which are not right. If you get into a room, if you see all the paintings or wall hanging are hanging properly and one is not hanging properly, we will notice only that which is not hanging properly, which is not proper. When we go to a party, if all the food was great and one item was not so good, which was cold or नमक कम था या कुछ था, हमको सिर्फ उसी का ध्यान रहेगा, उसी की चर्चा करेंगे. We have this habit of bitching people at the back of it, only finding faults, only talking about what they don't have, what they lack, what is their bad qualities. We don't notice good qualities in people. This is how the whole society works. Most of the people are like that, and that's why most of the people are not charmer. They are not going to get success the way we will get if we become the change, if we become different. If we start conditioning our mind, conditioning our brain to see good things in others, noticing things which even they don't know about themselves, good things they don't know about. And we are the first to go and tell them we can win the world. We can become immensely powerful. We'll get everything which we want. Charming people get attention, listen to, get first break and opportunities, and they are forgiven for things other would be crucified. Nobody has the heart or desire to punish charmers. They can get away with anything. People will not have the heart to do anything against you if you are a charmer. Even if you have made a grave mistakes, we can get away. This is the big advantage we have when we become a charmer. So let us make other people feel important, because our deepest craving is to feel valued by others. Our deepest craving is not anything else. Our deepest craving is not food or clothes or the everything which we do, whether when we buy expensive clothes, when we buy expensive car, or when we buy expensive ornaments. The whole purpose is to get importance. We want to show off how important, how successful, how great we are. Oh, we are driving such an expensive car, we are wearing such an expensive jewelry, we are wearing such expensive clothes. The whole idea behind that is to make other people feel how great we are. So our deepest craving is to feel great. And if I can make other people feel great without their car and without their ornaments and without their dress, I become the most influential person in their life. You see, let me tell you two things. When I started my business, I had no track record, no experience in real estate. My father was not in real estate. I was a first generation businessman. I had no money, I had no brand, I had no track record, I didn't have anything to show to the customer or intending my joint venture partner, the kind of buildings I've already made. My first building was yet to complete, and yet when I went to do the second or third or fourth deal, and I was competing against the well-established builders of years of experience who had built so many buildings, who were second or third generation builders. They couldn't get the deal and I got the deal. It was very surprising for me. After signing the deal, I actually went and asked the landlord. In one case, my offer was not as good as the other person's offer. Even financially, my offer was less rewarding to them than my competitor. And I was really surprised. I asked them, I said, why did you give the deal to me? You could have given to that person who's actually better known in the market and was giving you a better deal. You know what the answers I got? I got because, we trusted you, or we liked you, or our chemistry matched. And some very smart, ladies particularly, they said, Vagar, you charmed us. We were fallen for your charm, and that's why the deal was given to you. And that was true confession. You see, people don't give deals just because of money or just because you have a track record. They want to deal with people they like, they love, they enjoy their company. And if you can really make it happen, the whole world is yours. There's another incident, in Italy, this gentleman was born and all his life he spent in Paris. Yeah. And he was called a lady killer. And everywhere he went, people and ladies particularly was falling heel over, for his attentions, for his, company and all that. And Dale Carnegie in his book, he writes that I asked one lady that, why are you so enamored by this guy? Because he is not so good looking, because he's not that Benson Boone hero, tall, dark, and handsome. He didn't have much money, and he was not such a great talker or such a wise person, or he is not very talented person. Why then so many girls were falling for him? I knew the answer was. The answer was, the lady said that this guy make me feel I am the most desirable woman on this planet Earth. Tell me, which woman doesn't want to feel like that? We all, forget women, we all want to feel like that. And if somebody can make us feel like that, we will never leave that person's company. We'll always want to be around him or her. We will always want to deal with them. We'll always want to keep them around us. That's what is the power of charm. The behavior of making other people feel valued is summarized in these 5 ways, and these are the 5 ways. The first is attention, second is acceptance, approval, appreciation, and admiration. First is attention. Never behave in a way that other people will feel neglected, overlooked, ignored. Yeah, it's said, hate me or love me, don't ignore me. You will really, if you ignore a woman, even after 20 years, she'll remember that date and that time and that incident. She'll say, oh, that day you behaved as if I don't exist. You see through me. I will never forget this. She'll never forgive you for doing this. Even other people will not do it. The best way to show your attention, even in a crowded place where you can't possibly shake hands with everybody, is to create an eye contact and smile back to people, acknowledging their presence and conveying your message that you are glad to have seen them with your smile. This is a master stroke. At least look, if they are looking at you, look back, have an eye contact, smile, acknowledge their presence. And if you can really go and say a few words or talk about it, that's very good. But at least if we can't do with so many people, we can at least acknowledge their presence. Now we'll actually deal with all of them. Attention. Our attention make people feel valued and important. Because of this, they would like to be with us. Attention is very important. हमारे यहाँ एक रहीम का दोहा है, आवत ही हरके नहीं, नैनन नहीं सने, तुलसी वहां न जाइए जो कंचन बरसे में. Don't go to that place where you are not given attention, even if the place is full of gold. That is what Rahim said. So this is not in every country. People are hungry of attention. Anybody giving them attention will make them dear. To provide attention, the best thing to do is to become an empathetic listener. See, we had discussed in our listening class that when we are listening, we have everything to gain and the other person has nothing to gain. When we are listening, we are getting information, we are enhancing our knowledge, we are learning something new. The other person who's speaking is not gaining anything out of that time spent. We are not only learning something new, we are also learning about that person, his likes and dislikes, his way of seeing things, his aspirations, his dreams, the things he would like to do, he would want in life, which information we can use subsequently in our interaction with that person to get what we want from him, or to make him, or to please him, or to do things which will make him become more enamored by us. That's a great way of finding out what will work with this person and what will not work. And while we are, and see, when we are listening, we are also making the other person feel important, because when we are listening, we are showing that we are interested in what you have to say. We really like the way you say things. We really are interested in the way you think. We are really interested in you. When we show all these, when we send all these communications, the other person cannot resist but to like us. So this is a great way of making other persons like us, by becoming an empathetic listener. When we also respond to their emotions. When they are happy, we also show happiness. When they are sad, we show sadness. When they have tears in our eyes, we also show tears in our eyes, and so on. And these are very important. We all know, we learned in the listening class, to show that other person that we are really, really interested in what they are saying, is to maintain eye contact, nod our heads, show with our body language that we are with them and we are actually interested in what they are saying. Verbal reassurance means saying yes or no or agreed. And receptive body language, which means we have an open body language. We show them that we are really interested in what they are saying. Now, sometime you may not like the person, or you will not like the way that person is talking, or you may not have a right impression of that person, or you may have prejudice against that person. Even then, I would suggest, even if you are initially not interested, give it a try. At least fake interest in that person's whatever they want to say. I can assure you 99% of the cases, after you have listened for a few minutes, you will get interested, because everyone has a different perspective. Everyone has a different story to tell. Everyone has their own. So, if you really are a curious person who would like to know about that person, who would like to know about every subject or how people think about that subject, I'm sure you'll get interested, even if you were not interested in the beginning. And I can tell you, the best way to make other person fall for you or like you or trying to become friend of yours is to become an empathetic listener. Many lifelong friendship has started in this way. And see, we don't have to agree with everything which the other person says, but while conveying our disagreement, we don't have to become a disagreeable. There's a difference between communicating disagreement and sounding disagreeable. You see, what happens is that in most of the conversation, when the conversation is going and you are agreeing to 80% of the things, when we are agreeing, we don't confirm, we don't vocalize. But when something comes in the talk where we disagree, immediately we say, no, I don't agree with this, or I don't agree. Or at the after the talk is concluded, we say, no, we don't agree. I don't agree. Which is basically conveying that you have not agreed with any of the talk, any of the things which he has said. We should not do that. We should actually say that I agree with most of what you have said, but I don't agree with this part of your speech. The other person will be more than willing, when he knows that 80% of his talk is agreed by you, will be willing to discuss and amend. If there is a reason to amend, if you give them sufficient reason to change their way of thinking, they will probably try to change. The other way of showcasing your disagreement is to use the word I can understand. I can understand means I can understand why you behave like this. I can understand why you said this. I can understand why you are thinking like this, but I don't agree. I don't say I don't agree. It is implied. I'm saying I can understand means I can understand. I can understand why you shouted at your mother, but I don't agree. I can understand why you slapped your younger sister, but I don't agree. I can understand why you broke that vase when at the height of anger, but I don't agree. I can understand it's a sugar coat to make your disagreement more acceptable. When we say I can understand, the other guy feels that you are on their side, even though you are not. This is a much better way of getting your disagreement accepted by that person than any other technique. And whenever, even if what the other guy is saying is making you angry, making you annoyed, please don't show your anger or annoyance. Smile. It's a better way. Smile also can be used to show your disagreement. Yeah, it's a much better way, because you are then controlling the situation. In anger, we don't control situation. The situation controls us. Don't lose your control over the situation. Next is acceptance. The best gift we can give it to another human being is to accept them the way they are. You see, the world is so beautiful because everyone is unique. Everyone has different features and different face and different way of thinking and different way of doing things. That makes this whole world such a beautiful place. Just imagine if everybody had the same kind of face and same kind of features and they thought the same, what a boring place it would have become. And if that is so, why we want to make other people think, behave, act like us? But that's what we try to do all the time. We think my way or highway means my is the only way to, this is the only correct thing. Anything which is different is not right. In Jainism, there's a very beautiful concept which says anekant. Anekant means that this is right, but its opposite is also right. And both are right in some places and both are wrong in some places. And there's nothing which is called absolute correct or absolute truth. It all depends upon how you are viewing it, from which location you are viewing it, What are the circumstances? Like they say, drinking alcohol can be bad for getting high, but not bad when you are taking it for medicinal purposes. Likewise, telling lies is not correct, but when you have to tell lies to save somebody's life, it is correct. So therefore, we should accept people the way they are, the way they think. You see, I can remember a joke that a wife after marriage tried her best to change her husband the way she wanted him to be, and then started complaining, "आप तो पहले जैसे रहे नहीं." You see, this is what we all do. We always want to change people, which is a futile exercise. Nobody will change. When we accept the way they are, we are giving them the best gift. They can be what they are. They can be themselves. When we make this happen, people start liking us. They will start wanting to be in our company. It's very, very important thing, and we should learn to accept people who are contrary and who are just opposite us, who think, act, behave absolutely in a different manner than we do. Approval. As I told you, we easily vocalize disagreement. We easily vocalize when we don't agree, when we don't like, when we don't accept something. But we don't vocalize when we agree, when we approve something. Let's change our habit. Let us vocalize our acceptance. Let's vocalize when somebody is saying something and we are agreeing, we should tell, yes, I agree. I can't agree even more. You did the right thing. You did the best thing. I would have done also this if I was in your place. All these approval sentences, approval communication should be done more often, which make other people feel they are on the right track, and there's somebody who is absolutely in sync with them, who approves whatever they have done. They need such support, and therefore when you vocalize, they think you are one of their supporters. So when we agree, people feel wonderful and find interesting, and us very extremely charming. And then next is appreciation. What is appreciation? When we notice other people's effort, even smallest effort to make us happy, when we notice other people's effort to make this world a better place, when we appreciate other people's actions, even small, to help others, to do nice things, to become great citizens, to become exemplary people, exemplary human being, every small act of theirs, if we notice and appreciate, give them compliments, we become very close to them. A simple thank you note, as we discussed in our past classes, can really make people go out of the way to become very close to us or to help us. Notes such as congratulations, notes which compliment people for their small achievements, all are remembered, well appreciated, well reciprocated in the way of counter compliments, or they feel that you are a very nice human being and very close friend of theirs. Admiration. This is really, really very powerful. We all want to be in company of people who appreciate us. That's why everybody is working to create fan following. The most successful person, the most popular person still want to become more popular. Yeah, it is unsatiable desire, So therefore, anybody who's admiring us, who consider us as their role model, becomes very close to us. We always like to feel nice in their company, because we know that these are the guys who really appreciate us or admire us. Now, therefore, if we have this habit of looking good things in people, and we are the first to notice and compliment them, we become very powerful, because we will be considered as the best human being, and always giving ego, their ego boost. You see, everybody has somewhere in their mind some insecurity, a feeling of inadequacy, a feeling that I am not good enough, a feeling that maybe I'm not as smart as others. This insecurity we are born with. It stays with us all our life. And if anybody who's helping us to come out of that insecurity by giving us compliment, by reassuring us, by telling us that we are good enough, very good, excellent, we need that kind of person around us to keep ourselves secured from this insecurity. And therefore, we love our admirers and we love people who admire us. And therefore, if I am admiring somebody or always admiring people around me, I will definitely become their top priority to be in contact with. Now, the requirement of a lady and a man is different. We are absolutely two different, variety of human being. It's rightly said that men are from Mars and women are from Venus because our requirement is completely different. To become a charming to a woman, we must understand what is it which works on her. The most powerful and important emotional requirement of a woman is attention, affection, and respect. She is not interested in your achievement. She is not interested in how great you are. She is only interested in, are you giving her attention? Is she features in your priority list or not? If she doesn't feature in your priority list, you will not be on her priority list. Attention is most important. And second is not anything else, affection. How much you care about me, how much you care. Do you really care about me? Very important. And it really works. It's not only in your personal relationship, it also works in business relationship. The way to handle a woman client is absolutely different than the way to handle a man client or man colleague or a woman colleague or a man subordinate or a woman subordinate. It's absolutely different. And third is respect. She needs to be respected. Have you ever seen a woman opening a door for a man? No. All the chivalry is for the man. We have to get up and put the chair when she's sitting, help her when she's carrying any any weight. It's a good manners. Open doors, give her a red carpet treatment, or take her out for a candle. She enjoys all that pampering. Men doesn't enjoy. At times, men will feel suffocated when too much of love is showered on a man by like my mother or my sister or my wife or my daughter or my girlfriend. We say, okay, it's enough. Please don't make us feel very constricted with so much of, my mother even now keep on asking me, whether I had dinner or whether I had food and whether I have had water and things like that. That's our way of showing concern and care. But to us, it is, in fact, it's not required. But the woman will enjoy if we show this kind of concern and care. Women judge people by their care and concern. They are not interested in other things. And they can peep into your heart and see how genuine you are when you are giving a compliment or you are saying something. It's very, very difficult to fool a woman. It's very easy to fool a man. Be very careful. Be absolutely transparent. Be absolutely loving and concerned when you are dealing with women. And any man who's attentively and patiently listening to the woman without interruption, showing care and concern, will make that woman find that man very charming. It's very, very important that we show her attention by becoming a good listener, and we show our concern and care by asking pertinent questions, which shows that we are concerned about her well-being. The key to impress a man is very simple. Talk about his business, talk about his career, talk about his hobbies, talk about his friends, talk about his achievement, adventure, all kinds of things. And he will find the woman very, very intelligent and very charming, because rarely women talk and contribute in the talk on these subjects. And therefore the man will be really impressed if the woman go out of the way to talk about things which the men are interested to talk. Let me tell you, like women, all men want to feel that they are the most interesting men on the world. Any woman who can make the man feel like that by listening to him, by asking questions, by complimenting, by showing interest in his interest, the man will fall for her. Then the man will do anything which she asks. Yeah, even carry her shopping bags and give her the credit card. Admiration is the most important tool to impress people, and therefore we should be very generous with our praise. Normally, we are very stingy with our praise. We really don't compliment people. It is better to compliment and not mean it than to mean it and not give it. You must say good things, even if you don't mean, than to mean and not say it. What's the point? Somebody has put an effort to prepare a nice food for you, and you really liked it, and you don't compliment. You should even compliment when the food was not all that good, because at least somebody has put an effort. Therefore, we should be very generous with our compliments. When we are generous with our compliments, people will at least do their best, give us their best service, best products, best. Research indicates that more people leave worldwide, companies, organizations, because they feel unappreciated. They feel that their work is not well recognized, which they deserve. And therefore, they leave. They don't leave for higher pays. And therefore, in an organization, if you really want to motivate people, if you really want to retain your star performers, if you really want to make them feel great and loyal to your organization, the best way is to compliment. Most of the time, we think just the opposite. We think, oh, if I give compliments to people, it will go in their head and then they'll not work, or they will ask for more money, and it never happens. In fact, they will work for less money if they find that this is the place where they get job satisfaction and their work is recognized and their work is appreciated and complimented. They'll stay even at lower salary. Then go to a place where salary is high but they are not appreciated. So best way to retain people in your life, in your friend circle, and in your organization, your clients or stakeholders, best is to be lavish or generous with your compliments. Now, two very subtle things let's understand. You see, when we verbally compliment people, we have a limitation. After that limit, if we continue complimenting people or praising people, people will start doubting. People will start thinking that there's some agenda you've got, and maybe you don't mean it. You're just saying for the sake of saying it. You're just saying it for the sake of pleasing them and things like that. So your verbal compliment has limitations. It can't go beyond certain things. You have to actually judge that to what extent I can give verbal compliment, and beyond that I should not be doing it, because then it's a law of diminishing return. The more I say, the more the other person doubt, and its effect will slowly diminishing. So we better be within that limit. But there is a way of complimenting people without their realizing, and they will not doubt that way of your giving compliments to them. Still, that will have the same effect. It will please them. It will it will make them, and yet it's not visible. And that way is called NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And what is it? When we mirror image people, the way they talk, the way they choose their words when they are talking, the way they sit, their body language, all this is mirror imaged by us. It is a way of making them feel great. It is a way of making them feel that your way is a better way, and therefore I am following your way. You are a very important person. That's why I am following you. You see, in our country, most of the people speak with mother tongue influence, English. I'd been to Chennai because we had an office in Chennai, and whenever I go to Chennai, in Chennai or Tamil Nadu is the only place on earth where when people want to say yes, they nod their head horizontally. The rest of the world, they nod their head vertically. So in Chennai, when we are discussing something and when I agree, I nod my head also horizontally. But I don't do it in Germany, or I don't do it in Calcutta, or I don't do it anywhere else. Because the whole world, this is yes. But in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, this is yes. The way when I start following them, the way they speak English, I speak the English the way they are following. I immediately have a rapport with them, and then they feel that he is a guy whom they can trust, whom they can do business with, whom they can be comfortable doing business with. And I tell you, in India, in Calcutta also, whenever the seeing the way of the crowd where I was, I used to change the way I was communicating with them, and it always worked. It was a way of giving them compliment. If I am a group of Marwadis, I will always speak in Marwadis. I will not speak in Hindi or English or any other language. When I am with a very, very sophisticated Bengali who has lived all his life in Europe and was being educated in Europe, I'll speak with them absolutely Oxfordian English and talk about the English literature in England and London and so on and so forth. If I am with a typical Bengali family, traditional Bengali family, I'll talk about Rabindranath and speak absolutely Bangla. And again, if I am with some UPite or somebody, I will speak in Hindi. So depending upon the crowd, if you choose your language, your selection of words, your body language, the way you say, which basically is mirror imaging their way of interacting with people, you will immediately get accepted and you will get a place in their heart and mind. See, you can see these two ladies talking to each other. They have an eye contact, they have smile on their face. Look at their hands and the way their legs are. It's absolutely mirror imaging the body language of each other. It's perfect rapport. We should also try to have perfect rapport with people whom we are talking, and that will make them feel important, which is our major objective. When they feel important in our presence, they find us charming. Now, one very, very powerful way of charming people, let me suggest, it's not given in any book. It was my own discovery. When we see a person who doesn't like us, he doesn't have to say that I don't like you. It's written on their face. We can make out that person doesn't, can't stand us, don't like us. Likewise, if a person likes us, it's also written on their face. If the person loves us, it's also written on the face. We have heard this expression, love at first sight. We look at somebody and we have an eye contact and we can make out that the other person loves us or likes us. It's written. And these signals from eyes and face and body language are not doubted the way our verbal expressions are doubted. Because we feel at the back of our mind that these communication signals cannot be faked. Verbal communication can be faked. You can say things you don't mean. But this is your body. You have no control. Your body will always convey the things which is there in your brain. You cannot fake it. This is absolutely true. But what you can do is to condition your minds in such a way that it will communicate something which actually you had worked towards to condition. I'll tell you how does it work. Whenever I had a appointment to meet somebody in my early beginning years of my career as realtor, and I had a tremendous task to get the deal against all odds and against my competitors who were in all ways, in many ways, better than me. They had better credentials, better terms, everything better. I was a newcomer. How do I fight? The only way to fight was to make the owner of the property get oriented towards me, start liking me, start trusting me, start, having feeling that our chemistry is matching and so on. I cannot go beyond a certain limit to compliment. It's not possible because they'll see through it. They'll understand that I'm doing it just to please them and just to get the deal. So it will not work. And some compliments even my competitors are also giving. So how? What does it make a difference? I have to devise a way where I can make them feel great without their knowing. How do I do that? So I used to let's say 7 days before I was scheduled to meet them, I used to condition my brain by telling myself that I'm going to meet two most wonderful people. I'm really going to enjoy their company. I'm really going to enjoy my meeting. I'm really going to have a great time. Even if I don't get the deal, I really thank God for giving me the opportunity to meet these two guys who are such a wonderful guys. At least I'll have them as my friends for the rest of my life. I'm really going to cherish my meeting them. And even if I don't get the deal, I'll help them to get a very good deal from other builders. My whole attitude is to help them to get the best deal for their property and not necessarily give the deal to me. This conditioning I did for 5 6 days by self-talk. The day there was a meeting, it was all over my face. Whatever I've conditioned my mind or brain with, it was there. It was getting conveyed from my eyes, my facial expression, my body language. And the moment I used to enter the room where the meeting was scheduled to be held, these guys used to get influenced by that non-verbal communication which my eyes, my face, my smile, my body language was conveying. And they couldn't resist getting charmed, feeling great about themselves. And ultimately the deal came to me. It really works. The way you can communicate your love and affection, your liking for other people just by your facial expression, you really don't have to say. You can do the same thing in your business meetings also. And sometimes being there in people's hour of need, in their hour of distress, is the best way to leave a lasting impression in their life. Just being there. You see, Mrs. Gandhi, when she lost her election after emergency, she was living in isolation, our ex-prime minister. And no industrialist dared to go and meet her because they thought that the party in power will get angry or something like that. It was only Mr. Subhash Chandra of Zee TV went and met her. Mr. Subhash Chandra writes in his autobiography that Mrs. Gandhi never forgot that gesture of my going and meeting her. Only once, after she came back to power, she had never forgotten this gesture. And whenever Mr. Subhash Chandra needed anything, got stuck somewhere, and his solution was not available even after spending hundreds of crores, one phone call to Mrs. Gandhi solved the problem. Mrs. Gandhi returned that favor all the time. What did he do? He just went and met her and showed her that he was there with her in her hour of need. She only needed that. Most of us will do the same. We'll never forget a person who's available to us in our hour of need. Let's be that person in other people's life. If we can really do it, it's a very, very powerful, charming action. And one thing which we should not do, which we are habitually notorious to do in India particularly, is to offer unsolicited advice. When we offer unsolicited advice, it is in turn making the other people feel small, and it absolutely works against the activity of charm. Let's avoid. Unless you are asked, please don't give advice. When you give advice, you are just trying to tell them, oh, how stupid you are. This is the way you should have done. This is the way you will cut. See, I am so knowledgeable. I am telling you, you should have taken my advice. This is the advice. Why are you giving? Nobody is interested in your advice. Please shut up. You are in my hour of, in my many stressful situation. If you are coming and giving me advice, you are actually putting salt in my wound by making me feel small. Please don't do that. Please avoid. Even if you are tempted to give advice, just shut up. This is absolutely an anti-charming activity. Please, let's not do it. When we do all this, the world is at your feet. As I told you, my real reason of success in real estate was my early realization of the power of charm. If you ask me one reason why I succeeded against all odds, one reason where I was not only very successful in my real estate business, in the initial years, I used to go to Max Muller Bhavan for learning German, and we had a lot of girls in our class, in our senior classes and our junior classes and all that. I had made friends with every girl who was studying with me in Max Muller Bhavan, and my male friends were so jealous. How could I make friends with every girl there? You have heard about Casanova. I talked about you in Italy and France. I was not a Casanova, but sort of Casanova. I had all the girls in the world. Yeah. So success in business, great friends in the form of girls who were friends, not girlfriends, and many, many more things you can get if you become a charmer. And it's not so difficult. If a stupid man like me can become a great charmer, you are much more intelligent. I always consider the new generation much more intelligent than we were. We were stupid idiots in your age. You are much more smarter. You are much more intelligent. You can achieve unprecedented heights of success and uh, meanings in life than we could do. All you need to do is just follow these principles of charming others. Yeah. Thank you so much. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, any questions? Please ask. Any doubts? So I believe all of you agree with what I have said. Now, knowing
Yes,
is not
sir.
enough.
Yes, sir.
Knowing and doing. Start applying the principles, the techniques you have just learned from this moment, and you'll see the whole world around you will change. You will call all the shots. You will get what you want. Yeah. And it
Yes, sir.
works also on your parents, on your servants, on your driver, on your friends, on your siblings. It really works everywhere. It will also work on your pet. Make the pet feel important and see what happens. So if you have no questions, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
And I
sir.
believe that this will change
Thank you,
your
sir.
life for better. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
sir.
sir.
Thank you,
Love you,
sir.